Mercedes are bringing their latest upgrade too, and are ready for their big comeback. Yes, it sounds like we're almost saying this every race, I get it. But this time it's different. At least that's what Mercedes are saying. Because they're coming with one big last aero upgrade to bring the W13 to the front of the grid. Do you think Mercedes will stick with the W13 design for the upcoming season? Or will we see a completely different car turn up at the pre-season tests? Let us know your thoughts down below. Let's take a look at Mercedes' comments on their latest and biggest aero upgrade. At Austin's United States Grand Prix the following weekend, Mercedes will make its troublesome 2022 Formula 1 car's last aerodynamic improvement debut. In an effort to transform the W13 from a car that struggled to lead the midfield to one that can regularly challenge Red Bull and Ferrari, Mercedes has made a number of modifications throughout the season. This season, it's made some progress towards that goal thanks to significant upgrade packages, like those introduced at Barcelona and Silverstone, that, for the most part, resolved the initial porpoising and bouncing issues and allowed it to compete for pole positions and race victories on some tracks, though it's so far failed to do so. However, there are still anomalies between tracks, and technical director Mike Elliott has identified a crucial mistake that was made during the car's development that's still having an impact on its performance now. This error, the details of which Elliott has not disclosed, cannot be fully corrected this year because the team did not discover it until the Azerbaijan GP due to porpoising concerns. In Austin, the team will make their season-ending aerodynamic modifications for the W13 official. It's our final step of aero development, and that'll hopefully give us a bit more performance. But importantly, with every step, we're learning more and more, and that learning we can carry into next year, Trackside Engineering Director Andrew Chauvelin said. That's part of it. Also, there's a few bits where we've taken some weight out of components that will hopefully get the car closer to the weight limit. It's very difficult for us to predict where we're going to be. In Singapore, Lewis was awfully close to pole position. Yet in Suzuka, both cars had a big gap to the front. Now, our race pace has been reasonably strong, so if we can make a step, hopefully we can get into the fight with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. But qualifying for us is the really difficult one to predict at the moment. But as I said, a lot of it is about learning, and we're certainly going to give it our best shot in the final 4 races. Chauvelin thinks that Mercedes suffered at the Circuit of the Americas last year, and that tyre overheating problems, especially on the softer tyres, played a part in Lewis Hamilton's loss to Max Verstappen and Red Bull after a close race for the win. They've done some resurfacing, so hopefully those issues with the bumps are a bit less, Chauvelin added. But what's very hard this year is to really know where are you going to be on a circuit before you've gone there. A lot of it is about learning, but we're not going to make any predictions about how we're going to perform. We just need to go there on Friday and see what kind of issues we have, and see whether we can solve those with setup. As Lewis Hamilton endured a miserable Sunday afternoon stranded behind Esteban Ocon's Alpine when the race restarted following a protracted rain delay, Chauvelin acknowledged Mercedes' committed mistakes at the Japanese Grand Prix. As a result, he was in 5th place at the finish line, while George Russell came in 8th after losing time as a result of Mercedes double stacking its drivers during the transition from wet to intermediate tyres. Russell's post-session assertion that the choice was wrong was endorsed by Mercedes. The team acknowledged that it most likely set up its cars incorrectly for the weekend. During qualifying, Russell and Hamilton were at the bottom of the speed trap rankings, with the former travelling at a speed that was 16 km per hour slower than the fastest in the speed trap, Nicholas Latifi in the Mercedes-powered Williams. This prompted to Hamilton's scathing post-race evaluation of the straight-line pace, and Russell claiming that the circuit exposed the limitations of Mercedes' car. "I tried everything," Hamilton said after the race of his attempt to overtake Ocon. "Just like Hamilton, we've tried everything to get you to subscribe to our channel, so what's stopping you? And don't forget to ring the bell whilst you're down there." Unfortunately, we've just been incredibly slow this weekend. We were the slowest out of everyone, I think, on the straight. As soon as you pull out of the toe, I was just going nowhere. Chauvelin described how Mercedes bet on the race being wet and described the use of the highest downforce level. Part of that decision is that it was actually giving us our best lap times in race condition, where we were going to get high degradation in the dry, Chauvelin said. But we'd also seen this rain that was coming in on Sunday, and we felt that in a wet race that might be a benefit. Now, as it happened, the DRS was never enabled, which meant overtaking was very, very hard. Perhaps the right decision would have been to bias to a lower downforce setting, but fundamentally, one of the things we need to improve on the car for next year is to get the car to have more downforce at the lower drag levels, and then we can race those lighter wings and still be competitive in the corners. And so, Mercedes have been able to point the finger to themselves and owe up to their own fault. On low downforce courses that demand straight line speed, like Spa or Monza, the W13 has struggled to be competitive. The team has been unable to engineer a performance deficit out of the problematic design. Chauvelin confirmed that this is a problem that the team needs to fundamentally address. But fundamentally, one of the things that we need to improve on the car for next year is to get the car to have more downforce at the lower drag levels, he said. Then we can race those lighter wings and still be competitive in corners. All of this is bringing Lewis Hamilton in the unusual situation of being out of title-winning contention due to Mercedes' problems in 2022. However, as technical director Mike Elliott notes, Hamilton is still leading the team ahead and putting a lot of effort into enhancing the W13's performance. Lewis Hamilton's dedication to his effort has been praised by Mercedes technical director Mike Elliott, who noted that the British driver is still eager to compete to boost the performance of the problematic W13. Brackley had high expectations for 2022 because the team had won all but one of the titles that were up for grabs between 2014 and 2021. The Silver Arrows, on the other hand, have lost ground this season and are now only capable of contending for podium spots, while Red Bull and Ferrari have swept this season's races so far. Hamilton has not been able to seriously contend for the World Championship for the first time since 2013 as a result of Mercedes' demise. The 7-time world champion and the 103-time Grand Prix winner is yet to win a race in 2022. And if he does not before the season is over, his streak of having done so every year since making his F1 debut in 2007 would come to an end. Elliott claims that despite Mercedes' difficulties this season, Hamilton has not slowed down or lost focus and is still as motivated as ever into assisting the Silver Arrows in their quest to return to the winner's podium. Both our drivers have been brilliant this year, Elliott told media. We've not given them the car that they need to fight, and particularly for Lewis, 7-time world champion, to not have been in that position, to be winning races every weekend and fighting for the championships has been hard. I think Lewis pushes the team. I think he does a really good job of giving us feedback. He works really hard. His work ethic has not changed at all this year. He's here late in the evenings working with us, trying to get the most from the car, and I think that's just an encouragement to everybody else in the team to see the input he's putting in. Lewis also spoke to the factory probably nearly 2 weeks ago and stood up and spoke to them, and he was brilliant. I guess what you expect from a character like Lewis, properly leading, properly bringing energy to the team. I think that's what we need going into difficult winter. And yet again, Mercedes seem to believe that they'll be able to win a race anytime soon. Do you think they'll be able to win one of the upcoming races? Or will Hamilton's record come to an end? Or is it possible that George Russell will take his first ever win? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to bring Mercedes some good luck. We all know they could use it. So don't be shy and click that subscribe button, otherwise Toto will get mad at you.